So, we have finally come to the final movie in Phase 1. Well, even though I still have to review Incredible Hulk, but anyway. And that is The Avengers, or Avengers Assemble, which is what it's called over here and in Europe, because we're in Europe. This movie, I actually saw this in the cinema. This was actually the very first MCU movie I saw ever, actually, in theaters. And saw this back when it came out 10 years ago. Hell, I actually reviewed it 10 years ago as soon as I seen it. And it was the shittiest review ever. Not that this one's going to be any better, but like, yeah. But this movie, man, I love it. It's a crossover, and it's great. That's my review. But okay, so basically, what the plot of the Avengers is: Loki from Thor is back, and essentially, he has now got this scepter that carries this thing called an Infinity Stone, and it's the Mind Stone, which he can use to like possess people. And he is basically after the Tesseract, which was in the end of the first Thor film, and it was the thing that Red Skull was after in Captain America: The First Avenger. So there's the Shield headquarters, and a bunch of Shield agents and people are there, including Phil Coulson from Iron Man 1 and 2 and Thor, and Nick Fury's there as well. He's like, is the Tesseract, is what's going on? Selvig, is it called the Tesseract's misbehaving? Is it goes, that's supposed to be funny. And you also have Maria Hill, Colby Smulders. This is actually her first appearance, I believe. Yeah, as this character, she appears a lot from these movies. And essentially they're working on the Tesseract. And Clint Barton, Hawkeye, who appeared in Thor, is there as well in his nest talking, whatever. And essentially, a bunch of these agents are like surrounded when the Tesseract starts acting up. It creates a portal, and then Loki comes down. I am Loki of Asgard. It's like, Loki, brother of Thor. And Loki just fucking jumps and fucking kills this fucking agent, attacks them, gives his little monologue. Then he possesses Selvig to help him, and he possesses Hawkeye. Hawkeye kills people, and then you get this amazing fucking action fucking chase scene at the beginning with fucking shit blowing up and people like pew 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 pew, and like Maria Hill is driving and fucking Phil Coulson and Nick Fury and the whole fucking shield base blows up and helicopter smash, and then they're like, Nick, I think it's time. And then it kind of has this, yeah, and it kind of like cuts past them, and then the Avengers title pops up. And essentially, then as the movie goes on, we're introduced to the Avengers. We're reintroduced essentially. So Natasha Romanoff, who at this point was only in Iron Man 2, Black Widow, who, by the way, this was really where Black Widow was great. To me, this is where she started to be great, because I'm not trying to sound bad, but in Iron Man 2, she was a sex symbol. This one, she actually was a well-developed character. And I know Joss Whedon's a fucking dickhead, but he did a good job here. So she's being interrogated by Russians, then she fucking fights people, kicks the shit out of them in a chair, and essentially is called in by Phil Coulson because Barton's been compromised, so she has to go and, go and do the mission with this Tesseract and find out what Loki's doing. Then they're like, we gotta go get the big guy. So we then cut to a different country, and then we see Bruce Banner is in a foreign country doing a medicine. This little girl who's running, and she turns out to be a little spy and a setup. And Black Widow's there, but there's a SWAT team surrounding him because they're afraid he might have an instant, but he doesn't have an instant and stuff. So he's called in, but he's not called in to be part of the Avengers. He's called in just to help out. And then we cut to the man himself. Is it Steve Rogers we cut to after that? Or is it Tony Stark? Then we get the after credit scene of Steve Rogers punching the punching bag, except the difference is this time it's blended in with flashbacks to Captain America: The First Avenger, where he's fighting people and where he's like, I gotta put it in the water and all that stuff. The only difference is that we actually do see a scene of him getting unfrosted, and he's like, oh god, this guy's still alive. And pretty much, yeah, so we get pretty much an extended scene of what we got at the end of that film, which pretty much was only like a teaser for this movie. And then, like, So he's like, "You here with a mission, sir?" He's like, "I am." He's like, "Trying to get me back in the world?" He's like, "Trying to save it." It's like, "What's going on? Like, this has happened, this happened." So he's talking about what Loki done after Tesseract. It's like, "Yeah, sure. I don't know if I'm up for it." And then he ends up coming on board, and they've created these helicarriers and stuff. And then we cut. I know, like, I'm kind of just going through the plot, but I like doing this. I like to just build it up. Anyway, so then we cut to the man himself, Tony Stark, Iron Man. He's under the water. He flies out, and then he's launching Stark Tower, which later on becomes Avengers Tower. But a Stark Tower, and he's talking to Pepper Potts, thinking, "Wow, that's beautiful. It's like Christmas, except more me." And he comes in, and they're having a nice little, like, night out, night in together, because they're a couple now, because they became a couple at the end of Iron Man 2. Then Phil Coulson comes in and talking, and he's like, talking about, we need you. He's like, I thought Fury didn't want me in his little boy band. I don't want to join the boy band and all that. And then he ends up pulling up files and videos, and these videos are the events from the Incredible Hulk, the events from Thor, and the events from Captain America. And he finds out what's happening with Tesseract, so he decides to come on board the mission. And then Loki starts causing more problems. So eventually, Captain America, Black Widow, and Bruce Banner all get introduced on the helicarrier. And then Cap is introduced to Phil Coulson, who's a massive fan of him. It's like, I have all your trading cards. I watched you while you were sleeping. I thought that was fucking funny, and all that. And Nick Fury, what I really like is this is the first time that he has a full-on role, because before this he was really only showing up he showed up at the end of Iron Man, in little bit parts of Iron Man 2 and a couple of scenes, and then Thor at the end of it, Captain America at the end of it. He's in this a lot because he's the guy that gets the Avengers together, and he's not perfect. He's not a perfect guy. So Loki's basically causing more shit. He's talking to these guys that are like in this throne, because the opening shot of the movie is like the Tesseract. The Marvel logo comes up, then the Tesseract, then there's like a narration about it, and then there's like this throne in space, and Loki's kind of, there's this guy bending down, kneeling down, and Loki's there, and it's like kind of like this shot of like Loki being handed the Tesseract off someone. But I'll get to who that is. You know who it is. It's fucking Thanos. But we don't know that yet, okay? It's 2012 for now, okay? Even though it's 2022. Anyway, so then eventually, what's then? Okay. Then eventually what ends up happening then is Loki's causing more shit. He goes to Germany to cause some problems. Barton's obviously possessed by him. So the Avengers are kind of going on their first mission. They're in a Quinjet, and then Captain America comes down. The Captain America, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. No, not fucking Hawkeye. Sorry. No, it's just Captain America and Black Widow. Pretty sure. Yeah, Bruce Banner stays behind. And then Cap jumps down. Like you get this scene where Loki comes into this place, and like he naturally like hits a security guard and fucking, he's like, ah! And then he fucking drills his fucking eyes out. And then like, there's these guys with guns, like security guards, and Hawkeye's like fucking taking them out, and they're all getting hit by fucking arrows and shit. And it's like really cool. And then he comes in, and then Loki's like, and then people are like, stop, freeze! He starts killing people. And then there's just like, he kind of comes like, this an awesome reveal of like gold comes out. It's like, stop, and then the car's coming, and Loki just goes, and the car fucking like kind of slides and then falls over. But the interesting part is they actually didn't mean for that to happen, but it looked cool, so they kept it in the take. And he's like, kneel! He's like, kneel before me. I said, kneel! And then like he appears in a million places. Like, is it not this simple? Is this not your natural state? Because in the end, you'll all kneel and stuff like that. And then this German goes, not to men like you. He's like, men like me. There's no men like me. He's like, there's always men like you. It's like, right, let this guy be an example. So just as he's about to kill him, shoots at him. Fucking Captain America comes down with the shield and goes, when I was in Germany, when I saw a man thinking last time I was in Germany, and I saw a man who had more power, and stuff like that. It didn't end well, so I think he's referring to Hitler or Red Skull. I don't know. And he's like the soldier, and then like Black Widow's like, Loki, you're under arrest. So then you get this great fight scene, Captain America and Loki fight, and Loki's like, Cap is like, he's like, and then he fucking hits him, jumps, fucking throws the shield, like, yeah, it's fucking badass. And then fucking out of nowhere you hear, shoot the thrill, ready to kill. Yeah, the open fucking song, AC/DC song that was in Iron Man 2. Fucking Cap, you just hear Agent Romanoff, did you miss me? Shoot the, and a fucking badass intro, and like just as like Loki's about to do a fucking Iron Man fucking shoots fucking things and hits Loki, and then fucking goes, make your move, reindeer games. And he's like, Mr. Stark, Captain. And then they get on the Quinja, and they arrest Loki, and he's there, and they're talking like, how long has he been like this for? And and then you get that kind of like the start of Iron Man and Captain America's kind of complicated relationship. It's like, oh, you knew my father and all this stuff. It's like, you knew my father, didn't you? He's like, oh yeah, Stark and all that. And they're kind of just arguing a bit. And obviously this kind of sets up what would eventually happen between these two characters in Civil War. But they're talking, and then they hear Electricity's He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, this isn't me. And he says that to Loki, and then out of nowhere, fucking Thor comes down like a fucking badass. And like, he's like, what is that? And then Thor opens Quinja, grabs Loki, flies off. And it's like, what happens? Like, and then Black Widow's like, oh, I wouldn't, it's like, we gotta go stop him. It's like, oh, is that another Asgardian? It's like, yeah. And he goes, I wouldn't I'd sit this one out, Cap. They're basically gods. And he's like, there's only one god, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. And he jumps down, you get this great shot of him down there. And then Thor's there talking to Loki. And like, Chris Hemsworth once again sells it as Thor. Now, I will say, I've always liked the character of Thor, but I do think he gets better when we get to Ragnarok, because I feel like here he still talks in broken English, and like, I mean, he is Asgardian, so he can kind of get away with it. And I feel like the reason he doesn't talk like that anymore is because over the years, he obviously learned and shit. But you get this really great, powerful, emotional scene between Thor and Loki, and he's like, please, come home to father, come home to Asgard, please. And he's like, give me the Tesseract. He's like, the cube. He's like, I don't know where it is. He's like, I don't know where. And then you get this, you listen here, brother. Gets the hammer, and then Iron Man fucking hits Thor, and Loki's like, I'm listening. And then you get this fucking badass fight scene between Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America stops them. Then they team up, and then they brought up to the helicarriers, and then a good chunk of the movie takes place up there, and then we get to know these characters, and there's just this great dynamic between each of the characters getting to know each other, like Tony Stark going to Thor, there he is, no hard feelings, Point Break, got a neat swing and all that. So he calls him Point Break. Thor gets to reconnect with Coulson and talks to him. It's like, oh yeah, this is great Asgardian. It's like a big angry fish and all this stuff. And then like, I love when Bruce Banner starts talking and they're doing research, and once again, this amazing kind of dynamic between these two characters, because Stark and Bruce Banner would have like a close relationship. It's like, finally, someone who speaks clean English. It's like, your research on nanotechnology is amazing, or something like that. I don't think that's what the line is. I think that's actually a line from the original Spider-Man. But anyway, he's like, I also am a big fan of how you turn into a big red green monster. And then Captain America's like, where's Loki and stuff like that, and Black Widow's talking, and you just get all these amazing fucking scenes, and then Nick Fury's talking to each and every one of them, and it's just a great moment. And of course you get that famous line, that man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. And then you also get the baldy agent who was in Thor, who turns out to be Hydra agent in Winter Soldier. He's there talking to them, Fury, like, this is happening, blah, 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 blah. Loki's kept in this prison, which, by the way, I fucking love that and it's actually become a meme as well. There's like a part where he's walking and then he kind of just looks to the camera, or no, he kind of looks behind him because he sees someone there, and it's just this amazing scene. But like, it's just great. Loki in this movie, I just want to pause for a sec. Loki in this movie is a fucking great villain. Now I know that this character is not really a villain anymore, which I don't mind honestly because he's a very likable character. But he is a terrific villain. I thought he was much better in this than he was in Thor. But yeah, and there's this amazing scene where Black Widow's trying to get information, and Loki is talking. He's like, "Oh, so you kill people?" He's like, "Oh, yes." And I have an army. I'll send everyone down, and I'll send the Chitauri down and attack New York and all this shit. And then there's just this fucking really dark moment where he's like, "Yeah, sure, Dreykov's daughter," which is actually foreshadowing, sort of. And she's like, "You're a monster." Like, it's like, "You don't know. I'm not the monster. I'll bathe in the blood of all of you." And then she's like, "I got the information I needed," and all that. And he's like, "I'll get the monsters ready to. I'll unleash the beast and stuff." So he's planning to unleash the Hulk. That's the whole plan. But it's a great moment because we get a kind of hint into Black Widow's past, and the Red Room, which was later on mentioned in Black Widow. And Chris Stuckman said this in several reviews: Loki knows how to get under people's skin, and I like that. I also love the chemistry and how responsible Captain America is. I like the whole, Stark is trying to poke Banner. He's like, "Ow," and he's like, "Hey, cut that out, knock it off." It's like, why? It's like, you damn know well why. You could get any of us put in danger and stuff like that. It's like, okay, whatever. And then you get just all these great moments, and Stark is kind of like looking through different things, like, "Yo, we should look through Shield's database." It's like, what is Phase 2? And as they're talking, like, we're talking about Phase 2. It's like, what is Phase 2 and stuff like that, and they're kind of trying to figure out what's happening. And like, it's like Stark is saying to Cap, "Oh, I think Nick Fury's up to something." It's like, "No, he's not. Like, he's not." It's like, "No, he is." So they start pulling up files, him and Banner. It's like, "I'm just here to do my job. I'm just here to do my job. That's it," and stuff like that. Um, and essentially they find out it's like that shield they're using the Tesseract to build weapons, and he's like, and then like they find out this, and then the Cap takes it, comes out with this thing, he's like, "Shield's using this to make weapons and stuff," and then you get this amazing sequence where all the Avengers are like arguing with each other, and like this amazing like scene that almost gets fucking heated. Stark and Cap start arguing, and that's kind of like the first like hint at what would to come in Civil War. And he's like, "You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you just came out of a bottle," and stuff like that. He's like, "Come on, let's take off the suit. Let's go a few rounds." Or he's like, "Put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds." And they kind of constantly at each other. It's like, "Big man, a suit of armor. Take it off. What are you?" It's like, "Billionaire, playboy, philanthropist," all this stuff. And then Bruce Banner's like, "Are we a team?" No, we're a ticking time bomb," and all that. And then another scene I really like, he actually mentions a deleted scene from The Incredible Hulk, and I really fucking like that. It's like, okay, and it actually puts a lot of human to the Hulk. Like, it's a very human character that you feel bad for, and he's like, "Okay, I got low. When I couldn't find a cure, I wanted a way out. So I put I put a gun in my mouth, I shot, pulled the trigger, but the other guy spit the bullet out." And it's just a dark scene. Then Thor's like, "Oh, you people are so petty." And then it finds out it's like, "Dr. Banner, put down this," and Nick Fury goes, "Dr. Banner, put down the test, the scepter." He's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Loki's trying to turn us against each other," and all that. Um, and then we lead to another great action sequence where Hawkeye comes in and starts fucking blowing shit up and fucking pew and all that stuff, and blows up an engine. And then he's like, and it's like, "Red alert, red alert." It's like, "Put on the suit." "Yeah, okay." Cap says that. Iron Man gets a suit on, and there's like this moment where Stark is like trying to like fix this kind of thing by going into it, and he's like saying all this scientific stuff, and Cap's like speak English, and then you kind of get them teaming up, and then there's just this amazing sequence where like Black Widow and Hawkeye fucking fight each other and hit each other, and they're fucking hitting, and then essentially like she knocks him out and ties him up, and there's this like amazing scene with this weird coloring and stuff, but I'll get to that. And then Banner's there, and the Hulk is then unleashed and all of that, and he fucking breaks out. And there's this amazing scene where Black Widow's just there, like getting panicky, and then Hulk breaks out, and it's this emotional moment, and she fucking runs after him, and he's jumping on the ships, throwing people out, and getting pilots out in the parachutes, and like all of that kind of shit, and they're running away. And then there's this amazing moment where Thor's there, and he calls over Mjolnir, and he's kind of like waiting for it, and it's smashing a bunch of things, and he fucking fights the Hulk, and Hulk fights him. It's just great fight scene between the two. Um, Loki's doing some crazy shit, trying to fucking kill Black Widow or Thor or something, and then Phil Coulson's like, "Put that down, please." Has a gun. It's like, I don't know. He's like, "What is that?" He's like, "I don't know what this is. I don't know what it does, but we can find out." Loki comes behind him, stabs Coulson. Eventually, as Loki's talking, thing blows up, it hits him. He's like, "Huh, so that's what it does." And then Phil Coulson dies, which of course we know is not the case anymore because of Agents of Shield. But then again, in Loki, they still say he's dead. I don't know. And then essentially, what ends up happening is ship gets attacked. Hawkeye ends up waking out of his Clint ends up waking up out of his possessed episode, and he's like, "Ugh, Ned, all those people." He's like, "No, Clint, don't do that to yourself. This is Loki that done that." He's like, "I guess putting an arrow, an eye socket through his eye socket would make me feel a lot better." It's like, "Ah, you're back to your old self." So then, after that, they're all losing hope, and then the Avengers fucking assemble. Thor ends up in the thing. Thor and Loki get trapped. Yes, Thor's there when Loki kills Coulson. Sorry, it wasn't Black Widow. And he's like, "Loki, let me out!" And then Loki just presses the button, and he falls. And this really fucking like scene that would make you dizzy. And Thor's being fucking thrown around everywhere, and he smashes to the ground and stuff. Hulk gets thrown out the ship and smashes down, and then we get this actor. I don't know the actor's name, but he was in Alien, and he's in fucking Pretty in Pink, and he's in Barry. He's in a load of things. It's like, what happened? He's like, "You came right through here, angry and like just like an alien, like big and green, angry, just like in the old days." He's like, "Oh, thanks. Are you an alien?" It's like, "No." Jesus, so you might want to get, son, I think there might be something wrong with you. You might want to get that checked out. So then he gets his clothes on. And then you just get this amazing moment where they all kind of lose hope. And like, I don't know, Phil Coulson died, and Cap has the thing there, and the blood's there, like, and Nick Fury's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" Then the Avengers are ready to fucking assemble. Bitch! Sorry. Yeah, and then I'm so excited, and then he fucking starts fixing his iron suit. Cap and fucking Black Widow and Hawkeye are getting suited up, and then he's like, "You can't be in here, son. Just don't." And he get on the fucking Quinjet and fly, and all that shit. Also, while they're in the helicarrier, I also love that fucking scene where what's it? It's like big flying monkeys, like flying monkeys. I don't understand. And Cap's like, "I do." Thor's like, "I don't understand." He's like, "I do." I understood that reference. And then obviously the part where Black is like, I care how you speak." Loki's monster. He's like, "I care how you speak of Loki, but he is my brother, and he is of Asgard." And she's like, "He killed 40 people in 2 days. He's adopted." I fucking love that. Um, but anyway, I love that scene. Then you have that amazing fucking final act in New York City, half an hour, pure fucking amazingness, and yeah, eventually, to cut a long story short, New York gets attacked, the Avengers stop Loki, and they save the day, and that's how the movie ends. Um, and they kind of go their separate ways. Now, I'm going to get into that sequence, but I want to talk about some of my favorite action sequences. I love the scene where Iron Man and Thor fight. Iron Man stops him and he's like, "Do not touch me again." He's like, "Don't take my stuff. You have no idea what you're dealing with, Metal Man." Shakespeare in the Park. Doth mother know you weareth her drapes? And just this amazing fucking scene where they're like, he hits him with the hammer, and he's like, when they're fighting and they're fucking flying at each other and fucking hitting each other, and he hits him with the hammer, and they're shooting, blah 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 blah, and all that kind of shit. And then eventually, like, as they're fighting, Cap like puts an end to it and goes, "That's enough." And he goes, "I don't know what you're planning on doing here." He's like, "I've come here to put an end to Loki's schemes." Like, then put that hammer down. He's like, "No, bad call." He loves his head, and Thor hits him. He's like, "You want me to put the hammer down?" And Thor comes and fucking hits the shield, vibranium, and they all blow back. And he's like, "Are we done here?" But I love that fucking scene. I like because it introduces that iconic trio that we get in the movies. I love the part where Black Widow meets Bruce Banner. It's like, "Oh, did you come here with a bunch of people?" It's like, "Oh, you went days without an incident." Like, and he keeps going on, and then he goes, "Stop lying to me!" And she pulls a gun and is like, "Sorry, that was me, and I just wanted to see what you do," and all that. But yeah, but I love Loki. I love him as a villain. I love the fucking action sequence at the beginning where they're shooting and Loki's fucking attacking people. It's like, "Oh, Loki, brother of Thor," and he's fucking shooting, fucking explosions, and the whole base blows up, and the badass title sequence. And how, like, obviously I love that scene on the ship where they're shooting and Hulk is throwing people out, and like amazing camera angles, like smashing, throwing people out of the kind of Air Force kind of like planes or whatever. And I love that, and I fucking love the final act in New York City. I think the effects are amazing. Um, it's such an iconic scene where the Avengers do assemble. Um, and it's great. But so essentially, the Tesseract ends up creating a portal which causes the alien army, the Chitauri, to come down, and Loki comes down. Thor tries to stop. He's like, "Loki, please stop this madness." It's like, "I can't. It's too late." And then Thor and Loki have this fucking badass rematch fight on top of the thing. And then Black Widow comes up and is like, "Dr. Selvig, you got to stop this." And she unpossesses him. It's like, "I can't. It's too late. The damage is done," and all this stuff. And then the amazing scenes of the aliens just blowing up New York City, and the amount of practical effects. Like, I know Marvel has a tendency to use CGI, and they use a lot of it, but there's a lot of great practical effects in this final act, which goes on for half an hour. Like, there's explosions and fucking things, and this waitress is like getting fucking like is all worried and shit. Um, there's also this amazing scene where Iron Man and Loki are talking. He's like, "Would you like a drink?" He's like, "No, this is not going to work." He's like, "Oh, okay, suit yourself. I'm having one." He's like, and they're talking. He's like, "Not." It's like, "I've managed." He's like, "So you have managed to piss off a super spy." He's like, "You got under the skin of a super spy, blah 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 blah, and you've managed to piss off every single one of them." It's like, "That's the plan. That was the plan." It's like, not a great plan. And then you get this amazing scene. It's like, "When they come for me, which they will come too." And it's like, "Because if we can't protect the world, we can be damn sure we'll avenge it." And then you also get an amazing sequence as well. The amazing line on the helicarrier where Nick Fury goes, "There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people. So when they needed us, they could fight the battles that we never could." And it's just all these iconic lines. Like, this is only 10 years ago, and there's so many iconic lines. And then there's that amazing moment where Loki grabs Tony Stark's like, "Yeah, bye," and throws him out the fucking window. It just really spends. He's like, "Yeah, Jarvis, anytime now." "Yes, sir." And it sends the fucking suit. Then he fucking gets in it and he flies off, and people are like, "Ah!" And he comes up and he says a badass line. There's one other person I forgot. His name is Phil, and he shoots him and fucking gets him on the ground and stuff. But as I said, the final sequence in New York, it's badass. aliens start attacking, like, and Captain America's fucking hitting people, and Thor's fucking going, and he's at the top of the fucking thing, he's electrocuting, and then Iron Man's like fucking shooting here, Black Widow's shooting and kicking, Hawkeye's shooting the arrows, and there's that scene where he jumps and shoots the fucking arrow and swings down, and he's like, yeah, guys, they give a damn. He's like, yeah, and he shoots one and explodes, and then Loki's on one of the fucking things and shoots an arrow, catches it, looks over, blows up, files, and then Thor's hitting them. And then you get that amazing fucking sequence where they're all about to attack, and it's like there's a big thing there, and he's like, yeah, I'm bringing the party to you and stuff like that. And then Black Widow's like, yeah, I don't see how that's a party. And then Bruce Banner comes up, he's like, well, this seems horrible. It's like, yeah, it is. We could use a little of that right now. It's like, sorry, and all that. And then you get that amazing fucking line, another iconic line, where the big ship is alien thing is coming, and it's like Dr. Banner, Captain America goes, Dr. Banner, now might be a really good time for you to get angry, and he's like, that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. And he turns into the Hulk, fucking punches it, and then Stark fucking shoots it, and then you get this iconic fucking shot right here. And Hulk's like, Iron Man's there, Thor's there, Black Widow's there with the gun, Hawkeye, Captain America, they're all posing. And it has all this shot of all of them together, and you got the dun, 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 and it's just this amazing fucking sequence. And they start fucking fighting. Hulk is fucking jumping building to building, fucking up people, smashes the thing, it crashes into this fucking place, he stops it. Thor and Hulk are smashing things on the thing. And then, like, I also, just before that, Captain America goes, okay, Stark, you go up there, Barton, you go him. Yeah, sure, Cap, it's no problem, and stuff. Black Widow's like, yeah, you go there. Hulk, you go there, blah, blah, blah. And you got Thor, you do this. It's like, Hulk, smash. And Hulk's like, and the Thor and Hulk are there smashing, and they're going, that sounded wrong. And, like, they're going through this fucking place, smashing things, and it's, like, just this really funny scene. And I know Marvel has a tendency to have humor that's like hit or miss, but it's really good in this movie. Hulk and Thor come there and they smash, and then like Hulk just fucking punches Thor out of the way, and it's done really fucking well. And then of course I love the part where like Iron Man carries Hawkeye. He's like, yeah, you sure? He's like, yeah, and he's like, okay, better come with me, leg lost. Flies up, and then Stark is just shooting things, and he's like drawing this fucking thing through the city, and there's these explosions, and you get this sense of, oh fuck, we're all fucked. And it's just the amount of fucking practicality and the destruction, it's great. Like, it's great, and it's just amazing fucking sequence. And then Cap is the aliens are attacking, and it's like, I need men up in those buildings. I need, he's saying it to the cops, like, why should I listen to you? And then the aliens come, and he's like fucking them up left and right. And the guy's like, I need men up in those buildings. And I love that. And the army are there. And like, there's that great sequence where they show teamwork, and Black Widow's like, you could just give me a boost or whatever. He's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, it'll be fun. And then like she jumps on the shield and goes on the ships and shoots them. And then there's this amazing scene where Cap is running away from the explosions, and he jumps on the bus and he's fucking up all the fucking aliens. And just this amazing sequence, as I said. They're like, how are we going to close the portal? He's like, oh yeah, I could do it. So then they're planning to nuke New York City. So Nick Fury's like, okay, that's the only thing that's going to happen. So he nukes it. Pepper Potts is there on the plane worrying. Stark ends up grabbing the missile because that's the plan. Flies up into the void of space like a wormhole. Blows up the ship, which causes all of them to crash. Stark falls. And he's like, son of a gun. And Captain Thor are there. And then he's not stopping, and Thor is about to go up, and Hulk catches him, and he falls on the ground, falls out of the sky. He's on the ground. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Thought it was funny. I also loved what was it? Fuck, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something funny there. I love that shot there. It's actually here, yeah, where all the Avengers are fighting and people are running, and then Thor like hits the hammer, and Captain America's beside him with a shield. Thor catches his hammer, Cap catches his shield. I love that. I love that shit. And then like, there's obviously the part where like they think Stark is dead, and they're like, wake up, and they take the mask off. And then Hulk just fucking roars and all that shit. It's like, oh, what the hell? It's like, oh god, am I dying? Please tell me nobody kissed me. He's like, we won. Cap's like, we won. And he's like, oh, yeah, guys, yeah, good job, guys. Let's not come in tomorrow. Let's take a day off. Let's go to shawarma joint. He's like, no, we've one more problem left. He's like, shawarma after? And then obviously, I can't talk about this movie without talking about that amazing scene where Hulk goes on the thing, smashes the ship, smashes Loki through the fucking glass, and hits him. And Loki's like, enough! You are beneath me. I'm a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by Hulk. He's like, Hulk just picks up fucking Loki and smashes him down and just goes, puny god. I love that. And then there's that amazing sequence where Loki gets up and he's like, if it's all the same to you, I'll have that drink now. And then the Avengers are just all there: Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, posing. Hawkeye's like that. Then they save the world. Everything's all good, fine and dandy. They're like, what's going to happen if the Avengers let loose on the world? We'll be there. And then like Kobe Smulders, Maria Hill's like, what happens? Oh, they'll be back, don't worry. So Thor and Loki end up going up to Asgard to face Justice. Like, so Loki has the thing on his mouth and they fly up, and then Black Widow and off and Cap, they all go their separate ways pretty much. Stark kisses Pepper. You get this nice shot of the tower that now has an A on it, so Avengers Tower. And yeah, but honestly, got this. Where do I even begin? Like, this movie, like, to me, this was a challenge, because this had to work. If this movie didn't work, the MCU wouldn't have worked, because they were building up to this movie for 4 years since the first Iron Man. And this was a risk, because like, it could have got messy being a crossover, because it's a crossover between Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, even though they didn't have their own movies. And it's focusing on all these characters and all these different stories, but it worked. They're likable. I like the chemistry that each and every one of them had. I thought the action sequences were done great. They brought them in their own individual ways. You can actually watch this movie without seeing any of the others, in my opinion. And it was like, Joss Whedon done a good job, even though he's a fucking prick in real life. And he's not really great at editing, I'll say that. Issues I kind of have with this movie now is sometimes it's a bit cheesy. Some of the CG is a little bit looking back on it. And obviously Joss Whedon is not the best at editing. I think Nick Fury is a bit of a dick in this movie, which is like kind of the point. I also forgot that like the Senator is played by this actor that was in Sin City 2. That played the Da, and like he's near the end and near the beginning. Like, there's these like group of people that Nick Fury talks to in one scene near the start, and he was like, I don't give a damn. We got to help them out, stop Loki. And then they talk to them near the end of the movie. And one of them's actually played by Jenny Edgutter from Child's Play 2 and American Werewolf in London. She's like, I don't know why I would do that. Let the Avengers loose in the world. Like, yeah, well, I trust them and all that. But yeah, I mean, it's directed really well. The action sequences are done beautifully. I like the practicality. I think as well, blending all the costumes together, like Captain America's suit being a bit cheesy and different. I think it's because it's not as badass as it is in the other movies, but it's kind of to blend with the rest of the team. I like how it sets up future movies. By seeing this mystery throne, then we get the credits, and then the after credit scene. The second one I'll talk about is where all the Avengers are in this destroyed building eating shawarma, and it's fucking hilarious. And then the first after credit scene is you have this kind of like this voice. This guy's like kneeling down, talking to this person, like, humans, they're an unnatural, horrible race, and like a guy's bending down to this throne, and then someone turns around and it happens to be Thanos, the Mad Titan, looks at the camera. So they set him up for Infinity War. Thanos isn't talking it though, but yeah, guys, overall, love the movie. I love the effects, the writing, the comedy as well. is actually, it works a lot, and the drama and the emotion. Loki is a terrific villain. He has some funny moments himself, actually. To be fair, I'm listening and all that kind of like, yeah. And then I love the part where they open the big hole. It's like, yo, that's for you, Hulk. If like if you go crazy, he's like, yeah, I got that. Um, Also, as I said earlier, this movie is proof that the Incredible Hulk is canon still, because they mention the events of the Incredible Hulk in this movie. Because he says to Iron Man and Cap, is like, yeah, but last time I went there, I sort of wrecked Harlem, and I like the chemistry that the two of them have. Like, that's insane. Yeah, he's like, you know, they mentioned the events of Harlem when he wrecked it and fought Abomination. They mentioned that. Jane Foster is mentioned at one point as well, and they mentioned the whole. So last year this happened in New Mexico, so they mentioned what happened in Thor in New Mexico. That's what Nick Fury says. And like there's a photo of Jane Foster, and they also mention it's like Jane Foster, yeah. They mentioned Captain America: The First Avenger, and as I said, there's that funny scene where he's like, "Oh, I watch you while you sleep. I collect your trading cards," and then later on he has the trading cards and they're covered in blood. But yeah, but obviously Alan Silvestri's score for this movie. Sorry, this review is really long, but like I feel like for the MCU and these big blockbuster movies, these will be long videos, just like the movie. But there's this. I love the. It's just epic. It's a newer score, like 10 years, and it's fucking amazing. And it's a fucking great theme song. But anyway, guys, I love this movie. Here's the front, the spine, and the back. Sorry. And then the inside. So yeah, reviewed 2 Robert Downey Jr. movies in the same night. Weird Science and The Avengers. So yeah, guys, that was my movie review of The Avengers. I'll see you guys later. Bye.